What specific measures are needed to combat China's elite capture or lobbying efforts?
Well, they want to tell the public that China is a threat, but when it comes to how business is done in Washington, D.C. through K Street law firms and lobbyists, obviously they're taking money. So they're talking, our politicians and our government officials are talking out of one side of their mouth saying, oh, China's our biggest threat, like Christopher Wray announced with MI5 in London on July 6th this year to business leaders. Yet on the other hand, our government is allowing these companies from China to buy influence over them in Washington, D.C. Now, back in the 60s and 70s, politicians used to get in trouble when they took money from companies for lobbying efforts under the table, used to hear about it. Well, since then, they passed laws making this a legal practice. Now it's called advocacy. So now you can buy off a politician legally as long as you go to K Street. And this is a good example of unrestricted hybrid warfare waged by China. They're not doing it through Republicans or Democrats. They're doing it through both. They've hired David Urban, a conservative and a former Trump advisor, as their lobbyist, and Huawei picked up Tony Podesta, a Democrat, on their side. So, and I'm sure they're not the only law firms or lobbyists that these companies are hiring. They probably have other lobbyists that are both Republican and Democrat on both sides. And this is where it gets really ugly with Washington, D.C. And there's a quote by Eric Schmidt, the former chairman of Alphabet, Google Corporation, and CEO. And Eric Schmidt said this back in, I think, 2011 or 12 at an Atlantic magazine conference. He said that he was surprised how Washington worked when he was able to go to Washington and lobby. He found out that it was the way to do business in Washington was through K Street law firms and lobbying. He basically said it was an incumbent machine where the lobbyists are writing the laws for the United States. And that's a big problem.